All right, guys. Probably the best thing, Rick, you can just start it off and just kind of go with questions here and see where we go.
I'm assuming you had the guys practice Sunday kind of to get rid of any hangover partly. Do you feel that has been done?
Yeah, I mean, we practiced on Sunday really for two reasons. One, we're leaving Thursday. So that meant if we would have waited till Monday, we'd have practiced Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all early in the morning like we do. And I thought it was better that they had a chance to sleep in Sunday and then sleep in Monday. And now we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The last time, thinking back going to Pittsburgh, I did think we were a little bit tired. So number one, it gave us a chance to actually sleep in Sunday and Monday. We brought them in Sunday afternoon at 3:30. Flushed out the New Mexico State tape, lifted, practiced. We took our full 4 hours on Sunday and then gave them Monday off. So, yeah, I mean, it was twofold. And there's no question that, after you lose a game, you hate to let that thing sit there and fester until Monday morning to be the next time you saw your team. So that's absolutely why and the two reasons we did that.
How difficult is it replacing the guys who got injured, Terrion and Cox?
Yeah, it's really three players. We look at, I talked to our team today as we kind of, talked about the Rutgers situation. We've got three really good players. Arguably our best defensive player in Dakota Cox, arguably our best offensive player in Terrion Gibson, and then a player, Jaden Boatwright, who didn't play or make the trip to Las Cruces, suffered a turf toe, kind of a freakish thing last Wednesday. So there's really three key players that aren't making this trip. But as we know, you look back to Mexico State, they had two key players that never stepped foot in the game. So, at least we know going in. Last week it kind of shocked us with Boatwright going down on Wednesday late in practice. At least we know that we're not going to have those three. Yeah, I hope so. I think so. We talked about that today. Absolutely that. And then, we're going to leave Thursday, which gives us the opportunity to get them up early, have a pregame meal on Friday at the same time we will do it on Saturday, and then also get by their stadium at noon Eastern time, which is 10 o'clock here. So we're going to get a chance to get up there Thursday night and kind of go through the routine of it Friday. Then give them a chance to rest a little bit Friday afternoon and really catch up after a long trip. Meet Friday night, get up Saturday and go play. So, again, I think it does help, hopefully, that we do practice in the morning because it's a 10 a.m. kickoff for us, which means it's a 7 a.m. pregame meal. We're going to do pregame meal 3 hours instead of 4 hours. I just didn't think, looking at that spaghetti at 6 a.m. was maybe good for anybody. Yeah.
Coach, do you look at the importance of getting the win before you go on the bye week so that doesn't linger type deal?
It's the next game. It's the next game. Obviously, we would love to be 2-0. I talked to our team about it today. If we were 2-0, we'd be licking our chops right now. We'd be so excited to go up there and take a shot and let it rip against a Big Ten team. And I said, well, let's act like we're 2-0 then. Because what happened last week or what happened the first week absolutely makes no difference when that ball's in the air. So this isn't the first time, unfortunately, I've had to come off a loss in my career. So I think, again, they follow the role of the coaches. And now let's just act like we're 2-0 and go let it rip and go play. We got an opportunity to go play a Big Ten team on the road, national television. Their next three games are Iowa, Michigan, and Ohio State. There's going to be a bunch of good football players and good football coaches watching the tape of what we do. Let's go take advantage of that opportunity and hopefully get better this week.
Coach Nick D'Avanzo getting a chance to go back to the East Coast. I know he's a couple hours away from home, but he's telling me a lot of his family's going to be there. How glad are you for your players when they get a chance to go close to home and they've been like this far away?
Yeah, it's huge. Those guys, you look at Nick D'Avanzo from Baltimore, Nias Martin from Baltimore, Delane Hart from Philadelphia. Lee Crosby's actually from back there. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity. And, as excited as they are about going back, Dakota, Terrion Gibson, they're pretty down about not getting a chance to go play. But it's neat to go back home. We're going to take Delane Hart with us on this trip. Talked to his mom yesterday. It's a great opportunity when you see his whole extended family have the chance to get up there, and it'll be the same thing with Nick. I think back a couple years ago when we went to Pittsburgh. We made that turn by Three River Stadium on Saturday morning. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning or so, our time. And there must have been 35 Presley T-shirts. His whole family had come over from Delaware, and I'll never forget that. Coming into the stadium, you see all these Presley jerseys. So, it's a great opportunity for those guys to get back and play close to home. It's a big deal for them.
Regarding the injuries, you've got experienced corners, you've got experienced running backs. How ready is Alex Hart to play?
Yeah, it was, he better be. It happened so fast down in Las Cruces, where all of a sudden there, about the second series of the second half, Dakota goes out. He actually got hit by Kimmy, and Dakota's out of the game. Alex Hart goes in, and he has a knee. So the next thing you know, Eva Toey's in there at linebacker, who's not even, we're trying to redshirt him. We just took him because he was the fifth linebacker. It's Eva Toey and Ocasio in there, like that, and we're in the third quarter of that game. So, at least Alex Hart has practiced a lot. We think he's really a good player. He did come back in the game after injuring the knee in Las Cruces and made a good play, tracked the quarterback down. So that's a good sign. I'm kind of anxious to watch him play. I think, quite honestly, Alex should have played more. We probably haven't spelled Dakota enough, and I think he's totally ready to go play. I'm excited to watch him play. Now, it gets a little thin after that with Eva Toey and Ocasio, two young guys, and we're going to take Portilla, a walk-on linebacker, will be our fifth guy.
Which one of your running backs kind of assumed the leadership that Terrion was given? Is it Richard or is it?
I think it's, again, kind of the committee. You look, those guys have done some good things for us, again, already this season. I look at what Woodhouse has done, both on special teams and playing. Tyrone Owens is a little workhorse. Chestnut is chomping at the bit for his opportunity. McCorley has turned the ball over twice, but McCorley, you can see, we know he's a good player. We're going to go ahead and take Contrail Moran up there with us. So, again, we do have some depth there. We don't have a Gip. Gip's a guy, when you watch on the kickoff returns, when you look on the big plays he's had so far this season, he's pretty unique. But we do have some guys there that I think we can go up there and we're capable of winning this football game with.
Well, I was just going to ask about Apodaca. He took a really hard hit. How's he doing? Is he going to?
He did good. He did good. He took a shot. Number 2 hit him. It was a totally legal shot, and he put that helmet right in his chest, knocked the wind out of him, and he couldn't even breathe. I was out there on the field with him, and the first thing he said when he kind of got his breath, he said, "Was it an accurate pitch?" I said, "Yeah, you're good. If you're going to take one, you took the right one. Now, it was worth it because you pitched that thing out there pretty good." No, Apodaca is fine. He's fine. Late in the game down there, he missed some things that he probably should have connected with. He didn't play great late in the game in Las Cruces, but it wasn't because of health. He just did not make the plays there at the end, but he's 100% ready to go.
On their long pass play at the end of the first half, what happened? What was supposed to happen and what happened?
Coach's responsibility, our responsibility. I'll take the blame for that. We were in a coverage, quite honestly, that it was more of a run coverage than a pass coverage, and there was no reason for us to be in that. There was a bit of a miscommunication, and we tried to get it back to more of a pass coverage, but it was too late, and they had their fastest receiver running down the field on Ryan Santos with 21 seconds left in the first half. It was a mistake that shouldn't have happened.
Santos looked like he was a little confused with that.
We're trying, yeah, because, we actually make a call, particularly against tempo teams, where we call the front and then the coverage checks. You can't get a lot of verbiage in there because it got to be short calls. So we call a front to where they check to the formations on their own. And we should have locked it into a pass coverage. absolutely a pass coverage where there's no chance to check into it like it's a normal 1st and 10. And we didn't get that lock put on there. So they're making the check like it's 1st and 10 and there's 6 minutes left. Where in a situation where there's 21 seconds, there should have been better communication that I don't care what the check is to this formation. We're playing 21 seconds left in the half and we're playing pass. And it started with the coaching communication, and it's a coaching error, and I take responsibility for that.
Coach, how's the offensive line progressed going into this game with Rutgers?
I actually thought we played a little better. I thought we played a little bit better, and I thought we took a next step really against New Mexico State. It might not have been as evident because they really did run those defensive ends up the field and make us play in a box. We didn't get the ball out in the perimeter as much, so we didn't have as big plays and as explosives. But our offensive line, I think, Adcock coming back and playing for the first time, played 70 snaps. Chris Lewis is getting better each week. It's kind of fun to watch. Blaze Fountain improved a little bit. Reno and Aaron Jenkins. Reno hurt his knee and continued to play the whole game. It's getting a little bit better. With that said, we go from South Dakota's defensive front to New Mexico State's defensive front, who is better, to now it's Rutgers with 3 fifth-year seniors. So that test keeps getting bigger and bigger each week.
Coach, what do you know about Chris Ash and what kind of program do you think you can build at Rutgers, and especially in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Chris Ash. He was down here, not this past spring, but the spring before. He was on Urban Meyer's staff there at Ohio State. I went up and spent time with Urban, got to know their staff. 2 springs ago, we brought Chris Ash in just to talk football, talk philosophy, talk about tackling. So I know a lot about him. He hired a offensive coordinator who was Tom Herman's guy at Houston, who I think was a GA at Ohio State. So there's a kind of a common thread through the whole thing, from the Urban Meyer tree. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. A defensive coach, very thorough, a lot of juice, a lot of energy. Urban thought the world of him, and Urban knew he was going to be a head coach. Urban told me that several years ago. So I think the sky's the limit there. Rutgers is a heck of a job, a heck of a program. Not that they don't have challenges, because there's a lot of people coming into New Jersey trying to recruit those kids, and they play in the Big Ten. But it's going to be a tempo, speed offense. It's going to be Houston's, Ohio State's offense, and it's going to be Ohio State's 4-3 cover 4 press corner defense. And they've got the makings to develop a good program. But with that said, there's a reason there's a new head coach at Rutgers this year. It's not an easy job. There's challenges, but he's a heck of a guy and a heck of a coach.
Coach, what are your biggest challenges against Rutgers?
I think getting better. I know that sounds so simplistic. Can we go up there and play our best game of the year? We're capable enough. We can go win this football game. We're capable enough. But we absolutely have to play our best game. And, you've heard that old silly thing of don't let New Mexico State beat you twice. That's absolutely true. Do not let New Mexico State beat you twice. Go play Rutgers and play like you're 2-0 with that kind of mindset. And, I've talked to our team a lot this week. Don't walk around like you're embarrassed because we lost to New Mexico State. Don't walk around like, okay, we just went down there and stunk it up. We were in a football game 2 years ago. We needed a touchdown to win. We were able to get down and score a touchdown. We were in a game down there this year where we needed a field goal to win. We had the ball 1st and 10 at their 45-yard line, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, 2 timeouts. We couldn't get it done. It wasn't much different 2 years ago. It was a well-played game. We don't have a considerable margin for error. We turned the ball over twice. They didn't turn it over. We had to gaff before the first half. We didn't get it done at the end of the game. Move on, move on, move on, and let's go play. So can we go play our best game of the year coming off a loss against a rival that we just had a week ago? Realize we lost a big football game, but the sky isn't falling in. We're not the worst team in America. We didn't go down there and stink it up. We didn't lose because we didn't play with effort. It has nothing to do with that. We just didn't play well enough to win. So can we go narrow the focus and just get better? Just get better. Don't complicate things. Don't waste energy on things that have no relevance to either us losing down there last week or helping us win this week. Right, Henry? Just here's what we have to do to get better. That's simple.
If defenses continue to play the way that Mexico State did, forced to die, what's the answer?
That's an absolute fair question. And that probably, as we continue to grow, started to become an issue last year. It did. That's why we've looked to tweak things a little bit schematically. We have to have more answers for things. We can't let defensive ends run up the field and just make us play in a box. You know, we're not the biggest, strongest team. We've got to be able to utilize our speed on the perimeter. And that's a fair assessment if you're making that we do have to adjust better specifically to how teams play us. It's the first time that that's really happened, where somebody just ran those defensive ends up the field. It didn't happen every time, but it happened a lot of the times. And the bottom line is this. With 5 minutes left in the game, and we have the ball and a chance to go in, I don't want to become a pass team. And I absolutely do not, with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game and 2 timeouts, say we throw the ball 3 times. We are a team when we're in that situation that has to be able to run the ball to win the game. And if you notice down there, we threw the ball 3 times. We had the ball 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line, plenty of time. We threw it 3 times. And there were things there. There were opportunities there that we didn't make. But we can't let a team, because of schematics, talk us into doing something that's not our trademark. And we have to continue to find answers to specific things that happen. And that's what you do as a coach, and that's what the responsibility you have to the players is. So there's a couple things that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen at the end of the first half. And not that it beat us, but we shouldn't have got in a position where we felt like we had a better chance by throwing it late in the game to win. That's not us. That's not our identity. It will never be us. And we need to continue to diversify. We need to continue to have exact answers for things, because we have been running a certain offense now. It's our 5th year. And we know that, and we realize that. And there were a lot of good things. But at the end of the game, when you feel a little more comfortable throwing it than running it, we need to have more answers for things. Right?
Coach, have you seen the benefit of playing one quarterback in terms of consistency, a rhythm that you had hoped?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You know, that's why we were disappointed, quite honestly, at the end of the game, that we didn't take advantage of some things late. You know, Austin had played really well, really well. South Dakota, we know what that was. He played really well, really 3 quarters in that game. He forces the interception in there, and then at the end, we had some things. We had some opportunities. You know, Walsh down the middle of the field, you know, that's a play you have to make. We had the 7 route to Gambo. He's wide open. He overthrows it. We had Gipp on a little B angle that he doesn't even look at him. And we talked all along. I mean, they brought the will off. They brought the edge guy. There was nobody covering on the hash. He's going to catch it and run down to the 10. You would have hoped there would have been more consistency in crunch time of that game to win that game. And your point's well taken by playing one quarterback. But he's done it like he did it out here against Hawaii coming off the bench last year, cold, and did it. So we did expect a little more from all of us at the end of that game. And that's, you hope by playing one quarterback, that's the case. I think that's accurate.
Morning, Coach. Rutgers runs the spread, yet they put up 375 yards on the ground, and they did it by committee with 5 different guys doing that. And you already indicated earlier today that we're thin at linebacker. What are we going to do about 375 yards with 5 guys in the linebacker stand?
Oh, man, I was starting to feel good. Now you got me.
Sorry.
Oh, God dang. You know, they're a little Tulsa-ish in that if you watch Tulsa, you know, they spread you out and they do run the ball up in there pretty physically. You know, it was 14-14 against Howard at the half. They came out in the second half and just put the hammer down. They just came out with that big offensive line. You know, there's 3 redshirt seniors up there. They got a running back now, number 7, that's totally healthy. They have big backs. It's a problem. You know, they're a Big Ten team, transitioning from kind of a pro-style offense with real big linemen and real big backs, and that causes a problem. They can line up and run the ball. So, yeah, I mean, we're going up there and hope we're a little more mature and hope Alex Hart can step up there and play.
In addition, if that's not enough, special teams. They've got a guy that's a Big Ten Player of the Week, ran one back for 84 yards. Any special emphasis on special teams?
Great player. Number 1 is legitimately a great player. He reminds me a little bit physically, I think, of Emmanuel Harris. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that have great quickness and great suddenness, but he combines great strength with that. He's very hard to tackle. He's very strong. And he's a kickoff returner. He made an unbelievable kickoff return against Howard for a touchdown. Unbelievable. And you go back and look at some of the ones. Last year, Michigan was number 3 in the country in kickoff coverage, I believe, when they played Rutgers. Number 3 in the entire country. He took one back against Michigan. He's done it against everybody. Punt, you know, they jump around so much up front, they really haven't set up a return yet for him. He is a dynamic player, number 1. Punt return, kickoff return, wildcat quarterback, jet sweep, bubbles, put him in the back with 2 backs, let him run it out of there with 2 backs in the backfield. He's a great player. He really is a great explosive player.
So will you just onside kick it or kick it out of the back of the end zone? What are you going to try to do?
Yeah, we're going to try to do all of the above. You know, I think, you know, we've got a really good kicker that is capable of kicking the ball out of the end zone. Again, the air is a little bit heavier up there. You know, there's a lot of guys in this part of the country that can bang that thing out of the end zone, quite honestly. It's a little more humid. You know, can he kick it out up there? That's the first question. And then, you know, I don't think we're just going to punt the ball down the middle of the field to number 1 and just see how good he is. We know how good he is. So, you know, you got to try to keep the ball away from him. The problem is when he's on offense, you can't keep it away from him.
Anything else?
Sure. One more follow-up that's not really related specifically to the game and the strategy and the performance on Saturday, but in the bigger picture, did you use this game as a recruiting tool? We're going to the Big Ten, we're going to New York. While you're in New York, I know the focus is on football, but one of the benefits of being a student athlete in D1 is you get to go to some cool places, checking out Broadway or Hamilton or anything like that.
No, I told him today, I actually pulled out a map, put a map up there, and I showed him where we're landing in Newark. And I said, you can take a peek to the east, you'll probably see New York, and you'll see Manhattan, and you might see the World Trade Center. And I said, get the best peek you can get when we come out of that airport, you know. So I hope by the route they take us out of there, they're going to get a chance to see New York. Again, you know, and then I said, how many of you guys have been to New York? And there were a lot more guys than I thought have been there. So I didn't feel quite as bad about not taking them across the bridge there and taking them into the city, you know. So we're just going to kind of stay over there in Jersey, make our way down to Piscataway, and you know, let them look out the window. There's just not enough time. I mean, unfortunately. But again, it is a neat experience to go get the chance to play in a different part of the country. And to answer your question, we absolutely use that in recruiting, as we do, you know, our future schedules down the road against those 5 conference teams.
We good?
All right, man.